Hey, this is Orange County Executive Steve Neuhaus. I'm here with my buddy Bobby Geraghty. We're here at Ben's Fresh in Port Jervis. He is going to be our podcast for NeuCAST for the month of June. So let's roll into it. So Bobby, good seeing you, brother.
Thank you.
Okay, so right off the bat, both Munro Woodbury guys.
Yep.
I'm 92, you're 94.
94.
How did you get from Munro Woodbury in 94 to in Port Jervis?
Okay. So in 1994, after I graduated, I actually started at Orange County Community College. I was already a New York State EMT, and I was pursuing a nursing degree. And during the second or probably my third year, I think it was my second year, I took a summer off and I moved out to Colorado and worked with a chef. I had been in the restaurant business a little bit, but I worked with a chef, and after working one summer, just being back in the kitchen, I realized like my passion, my heart was definitely in this. So I traveled around the country for a little bit, moved back to New York probably in my 30s, and then about 10 years ago, I found my way to Port Jervis, where I actually met Ben and Kanan, who own Port Jervis Pizza, and they had discussed the possibility of taking this building, which used to be a KFC, renovating it and turning it into like a burger and ice cream joint. And that was around 2015. And by 2016, I would say Memorial Day 2016, we had the menu finalized and we opened our doors in May of 2016. Just celebrated our 7-year anniversary.
So you got your 7-year anniversary. Not to like go into the bad times, but how the hell did you guys make it through COVID? So a lot of restaurants closed their doors and never opened again. Yeah,
and that was really hard to watch. Surprisingly, we did close our doors for 7 weeks, right, when all the shutdowns were happening. I remember it was a rough day. It was like the day after St. Patrick's Day. We had just stocked up. We were getting ready for, a busy St. Patrick's Day. We do a lot of fun things there. And, the word had come down that, everything was shutting down. We made the decision, for our family and friends to close everything up for a while until we knew things were safe. And we shut down for 7 weeks, and it was a long 7 weeks. I got a lot of things done at home, put on a couple extra pounds, made the wife happy for a while, but then it was time to come back. But when we reopened the doors 7 weeks later, we essentially kind of redesigned the business model to, serve out of the windows that you see over here. We had one side that was an order window, another side that was a pickup window. We went through a lot of social distancing, and where restaurants, essentially kind of fell apart, we found a way to make it work, and our business actually wound up booming in 2020.
That's great. So just going back, because you got my mind going all over the place. So I'm like Chester, Monroe side of Munro Woodbury.
Right.
What type of Munro Woodbury guy, like where did you live, Central Valley,
I actually
Monroe?
lived right on Old Country Road, which was right over there by the State Police Barracks, which is kind of now more expanding into Curious Joel. Actually, where I grew up, has slowly actually become part of Curious Joel.
Wow.
I believe. Yeah.
Wow. And so you ended up traveling the country. I was in Colorado for the military a number of times. I loved it out there. Like you said, you traveled across America. Where's your favorite places? Like when you think about it, like when you talk to your wife and you have a 13-year-old son or daughter.
I do have a 13-year-old son, yes.
And like when you say, look, guys, when we get a chance, we got to go back to this one place I went to.
Honestly, it would be Colorado.
Yeah.
Like I did spend a little time in New Mexico. I've seen Oklahoma. I've seen Texas. I actually lived for about 5 years in Florida too. But Colorado it's a whole different world out there.
Yeah, the mountains, and it is beautiful there. I enjoyed it when I was there. It was pretty cool. You mentioned that you're an EMT.
Yeah.
So have you ever had to use it since you've been working here?
Fortunately, I've never had to.
I'm knocking on wood not to make that happen, but because it's a great skill to have.
Of course.
That's awesome. So now we get into like being the celebrity burger chef. Now is that... When you started, did you cook everything that you could possibly dream of, and then got experimenting into different types of, spices and things like that to make this burger that we're going to get into? It's like the signature dish.
The Benny Burger has been the main burger on the menu since we opened in 2016.
Yeah.
We barely since we've opened we haven't really tweaked it at all.
Okay.
It's been for every probably 30 or 40 Benny burgers we sell one of our other specialty burgers. It's the most popular burger here, and it's like an American classic. That's what I think. A lot of people, when they come out and they think of like, I just want to eat a good juicy burger, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, pickles, and we have our own special sauce.
That's great.
Which really ties the burger together.
So How did you've cooked all different types of things. You said you do some special stuff for St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Are you seeing, some of the restaurants that we talk to in the county, we're talking about supply issues. That stuff is all kind of in the past right now. Is it just the cost of things that have gone up?
After the pandemic, there was a lot of supply chain issues, and there still continues to be some minor issues, not as bad as it was in, say, 2021. But we are still dealing with rising costs. Fortunately enough, chicken has come down a little bit, but for the most part, everything else has still continued to either continue to rise or be on that same rise where it went up in 2021 and never came down.
This is a tough business. This is a tough job. Being a chef. By the way, one thing I noticed when I came in is you were cleaning the windows. Mm-hmm. There's some people that are chefs that are like, that's beneath them. Mm-hmm. But I saw you cleaning. You're doing every type of job. You're like the bottle washer, head waiter, everything together. Being the chef, it's tough hours.
It is.
And you got a young son at home, and you got a wife your wife's a school teacher.
Yes.
So what's an average day for you?
Most of my days are anywhere from 10 to even 14, 16-hour days sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. I always take at least one day and a half off every single week, spending time with the family. And we vacation at least 2 or 3 weeks every year.
That's great.
Yeah.
When you're in a business like this, because now we're rolling into, spring's behind us, summer's rocking and rolling, Memorial Day just happened last week. Is this like full speed ahead until like the fall, and then you try to take your breaks then, but you also have a son that's out of school and your wife's out of school?
We all try to. It is pedal to the metal now all the way until probably Labor Day, but we do make sure that we all take it. You got to get it. If you can't get out there and enjoy it a little bit, it's not really worth doing it all. So we all try to rotate around the schedule, at least take anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks off, between management and cooks and staff, everybody that works in.
When this type of restaurant has a lot of young high school and probably returning college kids coming back to work for you.
Yes.
Do you have fun with that?
Absolutely love it. We have staff that has been with us for 5, 6, even 7 years. Some have gone away to college and come back, and even post college, some still come in. Not only are they regular customers, but every once in a while they'll come back and pick up a weekend shift just to kind of get back and get into the swing of things. We're a family here.
That's awesome. When you're cooking this stuff all day long, and you got awesome stuff on the menu. I'm going to bring my sons here in particular. They love hot dogs and things like that. When you get home, are you like doing something completely different? Or do you bring it home with you? Or do you like, hey guys?
When I get home, that is unfortunately the life of a chef. When you cook for others all day, the last thing you want to do is get into the kitchen and start slicing and dicing and preparing. So it's really not uncommon to make use of even the microwave or a bowl of cereal when you just got done working a 12, 14-hour day.
Does your wife or son, do they both know how to get around the kitchen?
Surprisingly,
or are you like pushing
yes.
everybody
My son is when he was probably 9 or 10, he learned how to do some of the basics.
That's awesome.
Get into the toaster or the microwave in a little bit, and now he makes himself some macaroni. And
now, some of the people and some of the guys I know that are restaurant owners or chefs, it's difficult for me to go out with them. Because as soon as we go to another joint, they're like, going like, giving them a grade and saying, oh, I would do this differently or do that. Is that tough for you? Or do you get ideas when you're there, or a little bit of everything?
It's probably a little bit of both. I mean, we keep a very high standard of cleanliness and freshness here. So, every time I do go out, I do find myself kind of looking around, gazing around, grading my food a little bit.
So you got through the 7 years of this. You've traveled the country. You've got stick time in different restaurants. What is your favorite thing to prepare for customers? What if the thing that you enjoy that that you're going to give to somebody and they're going to enjoy that meal? I
mean, it's definitely changed over the course of the past couple of years, because in addition to being this this burger restaurant that specializes in fresh cut fries and chicken and stuff like that, I love creating comfort food. So, as the years have gone on, Ben and Kanan have kind of always just kind of given me more leeway to expand on a couple things, try out some different things. So, nothing is really off the table. Sometimes when people ask us to describe our food besides chicken and burgers, I always say that it's kind of like comfort food without any limits. So, we're always playing around, trying something different. For me personally, I love St. Patrick's Day. Like I know I had mentioned that earlier. You know, like one of the first things my mom taught me how to cook was corned beef and cabbage. So I always love the traditional St. Patrick's Day dinner that we do every year. We put out a great spread here, and we are always trying new and exciting things, especially on St. Patrick's.
That sounds awesome. So just going back to that, so like I know you said you graduated from Woodbury, you wanted to be going to nursing. I don't know if you were trying to meet babes at the time. You were not married then, so we're good.
No, right.
You won't get in trouble. Yeah. But you were an EMT, so obviously that definitely drives you to that field. But you did cook with your mom before.
Yes, I did. My mom always entertained, a lot growing up. She, so there was, I'm one of 4 kids, so she always had us come in the kitchen and help as we were, laying out spreads for parties. We would actually, I remember, as a kid, we would have, friends over our house. My mom would be like, everybody come in the kitchen here, like help me put together something real quick. And she would be the type of person, even after we went out, like late night, she would be like, come, have your friends come on up in the kitchen.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
My mom kind of like helped spark that, that flame that kind of always drives and keeps moving forward.
Is there a signature dish that you think of when you think of your mom, or one of the things, is it the corned beef?
It definitely is. It's definitely a lot of the corned beef and the Irish dishes that she made that were just absolutely amazing.
So you turned the corner. It's been 7 years. I just met the owners, great guys. And but you were also very famous for this Benny burger. How did you get involved in this competitive burger making? And did one of your customers say do this, or one of the owners, or you said, dude, we're going to take this live?
This well, the burger has won a couple awards up until 3 years. Pre-pandemic, we had our burger place had been nominated a couple times for best burger in the Times of Record, Daily Voice, some other local publications, and I think it's probably 2021. In 2021, there's what's called the New York State Beef Council. They put out the word to everybody. They nominate your favorite burger restaurant and your favorite burger that you like to eat. And they narrow down the field. They find what they believe are the top 4 burgers in New York, and they invite you to go up to Syracuse to compete in a cook-off where the Beef Council, or a group of judges, help decide what the best burger in New York will be for that particular.
Is there tons of people up there at this thing?
Well, post-COVID, the first year it was a lot of masks and social distancing. It was there wasn't a lot of people because it's at a culinary school. It's up in Onondaga Community College has a culinary school inside. So the first year was a lot of masks, a lot of social distancing, wasn't a lot of people. But 2022 saw more people, and then 2023 this year, it's kind of inside the restaurant of the culinary school.
Wonderful,
So
very cool.
It's a little more close knit, but they have a lot of local news reporters that are there and food bloggers, that sort of stuff.
So we're going to have one of these burgers, and we're not going to give out any trade secrets. But have you had do the judges or anybody else try to dig in to try to give some of your secrets?
Surprisingly enough, there's been one judge that we've seen there for the past 3 years. He actually came up right after the competition this year, and was like, "What do you guys put in this Benny sauce? Because it's absolutely amazing."
And what do you say? You got to just come visit us in Port Jervis.
You don't give away trade secrets.
Yeah.
You definitely don't.
Because you want the guy to vote for you, but you know,
course.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to eat. We're going to cook, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. We only use a 3.2-ounce patty for the most part, so the burgers are always going to cook generally pretty fast.
Okay.
You're going to be my guy. You're going to put Benny sauce all the way down on all the buns here. Now, your classic Benny burger is going to have lettuce, tomatoes, onions, pickles, and Benny sauce. So we're going to start with some chopped onions. Put
Just
those down on
grab
top.
them
Chopped onions right on top of the Benny sauce.
Okay.
Once we've hit all our onions up, we're going to be putting about 3 slices of pickle on top of each onion.
Okay.
Looks good.
How am I doing here, right? That's a lot of pickles, huh?
3 slices.
Yeah. My 5-year-old turned 6 this weekend. Mm-hmm. His favorite type of burger, he calls it a pickle burger. He likes lots of burgers on it.
Okay. While this is happening, Ben is over there actually making some fresh cut fries.
Great. Bacon with bacon? Yeah.
All right. So you're
wow,
no lettuce.
Great.
We're going to get you set up right there.
Wow, these are great, guys.
We're going to add a little more fresh bacon to the top here. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and close up all of our buns.
How do you not like grab food while you're doing this at the same time?
It's really hard.
Don't say that.
It's really hard,
right.
especially
That's why
on the
I don't
bacon.
work
The
in a
bacon is
business.
the best part.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So go ahead and close up all of those buns. Go ahead and rest it right in there.
Okay.
Come on over.
So here we are at Ben's Fresh with my buddy Bobby Geraghty, and this is the famous Benny Burger. Have one. So thank you for listening. This is Steve Neuhaus, your county executive, here at Ben's Fresh in Port Jervis with my buddy Bobby Geraghty, and we're talking about all sorts of stuff today, but eating some good food. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next one for another NeuCAST.